The following program is a podcast1.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I am coming to you from the mean streets of Los Angeles, California today. Normally, I'm sitting at 316 Gimmick Street, sitting at my podcast table with my Pearl Beer neon clock, secondhand, spinning around like a rotisserie chicken. Those of you that have been listening to my show know that I'm remodeling 316 Gimmick Street, and I'm living next door in a rent-a-crib. Holy smokes, I'm ready to get out of this damn house and ready to get back in my old crib. It's going to be spectacular when they finish doing it. God dang, there's so much stuff going on over there. It is absolutely unbelievable. I went over there, saw a couple of construction defects that they're fixing up. They're patching a few holes up. I think the mud guys are fixing to come in there and throw that Bondo or that other stuff, whatever they call it, get the walls and the ceiling all slicked up. They're hanging interior doors. They still got to put in the 2 exterior doors. It's going to be sweet when they finish. But, man, I'm ready to get back in my crib. Holy smokes, I didn't know it was going to be this extensive. But I digress. On to the show. God dang, man, did you guys see the Broken Skull Challenge on CMT this past Sunday night? It took 4 years to put this show together, 4 damn years, and pick the best of the best guys that have come out to the Broken Skull Challenge and kicked ass. Returning champions and some guys that just had epic performances. Holy smokes, man, we started off in trench warfare, and we switched it up. You didn't have to ring the bell one time at the end of the trench. You had to get past your opponent, ring that bell, then get back past him and ring the other bell to win, to go to the next round. Man, we saw some stuff that was absolutely off the charts. And these are the 2 episodes that I've been talking about all season long that you must watch. Make sure you set your DVR. And that's with respect to all the contestants that came out for this season. But when you bring the best of the best back, it speaks to itself. And the women that come out this next Sunday, make sure you set your DVR. Hell, man, I was trying to watch playoff football, and I was in Texas mode. I'm still not back in California mode. And normally Broken Skull Challenge starts at 9 o'clock over there. So, hell, I got in 15 minutes late to my own show. And, boy, I tell you what, I rewound it because I DVR'd it and caught that first action that I saw firsthand. But when you see it all put back into to the format that we use and edited the way that it goes in, but it's all real deal, it was just off the charts. Make sure you tune in to this coming Sunday night, 9 Central on CMT. It's the final show of the season, the Broken Skull Challenge. This is, bar none, flat out, the toughest show on television, and that's the bottom line. And the ladies that come out this Sunday are going to blow your doors off, man. You talk about awesome. Man, the women totally kick ass. Do not miss it. That's a hell of a long plug I'm giving for the show, but, man, you know, there's only a few things that I like to watch on TV. You know, Monday Night Raw, NFL football, UFC, and Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge. So, you know, other than that, we just started watching The Walking Dead again. We had been recording Season 7 of The Walking Dead because we like to binge watch them. But so we were just fixing to turn on Season 7 and start watching, but we were going to watch the last 2 episodes of Season 6 to catch up. We had forgotten so many things that had happened. We went back to the midway point of Season 6, and now we got like 4 or 5 more episodes of Season 6 and to remember all the stuff that happened. And right now, they're in the battle at the hilltop with the, well, those people call them the Saviors. And, what's his name? Rick's kid just got his eye shot out. And then Sam just died because he freaked out when he was trying to walk through the zombies. Absolutely crazy. So we're rewatching all that stuff to get ready so we can go into Season 7 while we're recording that to binge watch it. But, man, that show happened. Shoot, that was a year and a half ago that I watched it. I forgot everything that happened. I've been hitting it with so many steel chairs. I had to go back and rewatch that and refresh my memory so I know what's going on, know where the stakes are at going into Season 7. Hell, I'd forgotten about that big tower crashing across the wall over there at Alexandria. Anyway, if you watch The Walking Dead, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you think, hell, this guy's off his rocker. It's a badass show. we're going to rewatch Breaking Bad once we get through with season 7 from start to finish, because that's one of the best shows, if not the best show I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to watch it back, or we're going to watch it back from start to finish. And then, shoot, I think Bloodline got another season coming out. I think I got one more season, season 3, and that's going to be all. But then we're going to watch that whenever that comes out. But, hell, man, enough of all that stuff. I've been running around. I've been trying to get this open to Stacy over there at 90210 in Beverly Hills. And the guy, today is Monday, my power rack got delivered. Right when I started doing open to this show, guy calls me on the phone. Hey, man, I'm outside here to deliver your power rack. So I said, all right. Hell, I went over there. We assembled the power rack. I got all my weights in place. And so now the crunch time is on. The pressure's on. Time to get my ass back in shape from deer season. Ted Fowler, 361. Boy, if this was the Unleashed show, I'd be cussing you like a dog. I can't cuss you like a dog. Hell, I was out there drinking that whiskey, not training just as much as you was. I got to cuss myself. Hey, I got my my aerobic bike in there. I got a preacher curl bench. I got a power rack. I got about 300 or 400 pounds of plates. Got a curl bar. I got everything I need just to do bare basics here at the crib and not have to get into traffic, go down to the gym, see that it's too busy, and then say, man, there's so many people in here, piss on it. I'm just going to go back home. I got no excuses. Next time you see me on season 5, I'm going to be buffed out and jacked to the gills. Hey, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Training sessions start tonight. Might be rolling some footage over at 316 Gimmick Street. The house is tore down, but the garage is a full-blown gym. This is going to be good. Hey, man, this past weekend I went down to Anaheim, California, caught an Uber SUV with Rob Croxall of El Segundo Brewing Company. The guy that we're in business with down in El Segundo, California, come up with the Broken Skull IPA. The best IPA in the United States of America. Today is Craft Beer Conversation with Brad and Matt of Noble Ale Works, a craft brewing place down there in Anaheim, California. And they make some badass beers. And what ended up happening was I told Brad, and he's a big-ass wrestling fan. And I said, hey, brother, I said, what I'd like to do, start off, and let's just keep this thing family-friendly because I need a Tuesday show. And if it goes off the rails and turns into an unleash, turns into an unleash. So here's the story. We get through about an hour of craft beer conversation, what they drank back in the day, what I drank back in the day, how they came to brew the kind of beers that they brew today, and then all of a sudden, about that hour mark, we're going to go into the Unleashed show. So it's a double dose of Noble Ale Works. First is straight up craft brew conversation, craft beer conversation. The second half, which will be on Thursday, the Unleashed show, start off, we're talking about beer, but then it segues into hardcore pro wrestling conversation, shooting the breeze, drinking hoppy beer, and having a good time. That's what the podcast is about today, and that's what it's about on Thursday. I think you're going to dig it. But before we get to the body of the show and talk to the guys down there at Noble Ale Works, let's take care of getting y'all a good night's sleep first. Everyone walking this planet is a unique individual. You don't walk like anyone else, or talk like anyone else, or even sleep like anyone else. So why is your mattress one size fits all? It ain't got to be like that anymore thanks to Helix. Go to helixsleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and they'll use their proprietary algorithm to run a 3D biomechanical model of your body to create the most comfortable mattress you've ever slept on. Helix worked with the world's leading sleep scientists to develop this formula so that everyone can get an affordable, customized mattress and enjoy the best sleep of their lives. Helix even customizes each side of the mattress for all you couples out there. So if you like the mattress firmer than your significant other, your side of the bed will be firmer. And here's the best part. You have 100 nights to try it out. And if you don't love your custom mattress, Helix will pick it up free and give you a full refund, no questions asked. So go to helixsleep.com/podcast and get $50 off your order. That's helixsleep.com/podcast. helixsleep.com/podcast. Okay, this is a 30-second commercial. I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you, but please stay with me. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. This company has been offering great rates and great service for over 75 years. And anytime you need help, you can speak to one of their trained specialists 24/7. The company is Geico. Go to geico.com today. Sorry for all the numbers. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm out of time.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Today we made a road trip. I'm here at Rob Croc's. We're at Noble Ale Works in Anaheim, California. Of course, Rob, El Segundo Brewing Company, the guy that came up with the formula along with myself for Broken Skull IPA, great craft brewery over there. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great.
You enjoyed the trip over here?
I did.
You were looking forward to come over here just as much as I was looking forward to coming over here.
That's right.
Shooting the breeze and talking about beer.
Yep. Oh, go ahead.
No, we're sitting here talking with Matt and Brad from Noble Ale Works, and they make craft beer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks. It's great to be here.
Boy, I tell you what, they was real talkative right before I fired up the microphones. Y'all was talking about a Beer 30 podcast. Give them a plug.
Yeah, Beer 30 was great. Yeah, it was. We've been on a couple podcasts. We're just talking about the different beer podcasts.
All of a sudden, you get on my podcast.
And we're quiet. No, I know. I'm just, my tongue's busted.
I got some amphetamines in my pocket.
That would be great. Yeah, pull that out. That would. There's beer here too, though, so we should be probably okay. I think. I just don't. Want to make sure you're in charge. You're the man.
No.
Man.
I'm just this is
your podcast,
man. We're just shooting the breeze here. Now I told him. I said, man, we're trying to put this on my family-friendly show Tuesday.
That's right.
If it spins out of control, it ends up on Thursday.
Right.
It is what it is. You got a bad mouth like I do. Now, I said you can
likely.
organically say 4-letter words, but we're just not going to just.
That was for the sake of comedy, Steve. That was. I was trying to time that.
Stacy, leave that one in there.
To describe your beer.
Floral, fun, fantastic,
Fresh.
exactly.
Hey, let's talk about Noble Ale Works.
Sure.
How long you guys been here?
Wow. Is it 6 years? Are we talking 6 years like March?
Well, when I was doing my research about you guys, you started up in 2009 but didn't start pouring until 2011?
Right, yeah.
What are you doing in that 2-year process before you start pouring?
We were brewing at a different spot. Our brewer at the time went up to Pomona at a brewery called Jail Brothers.
Last name brewing.
And so we're doing that for a bit. I started working the tail end of that brewer's tenure here. So, that was, I guess, 6 or so years ago, yeah.
And the guy's voice you're hearing, that's Brad, and he's a big wrestling fan. We met over at El Segundo Brewing Company when we launched Broken Skull IPA for another function. These guys got to make the rounds.
Yeah.
But anyway, also, you're a big wrestling fan.
I do like wrestling. I enjoy wrestling a lot.
We're talking a little bit about wrestling while we talk about beer.
All right, let's do it.
But since I'm a big beer fan, and I've been drinking beer my whole life, and towards the end of my wrestling career, I got paid to drink for a living, and I wrestled on the side.
Those were fun times. It looked like they were fun times.
I got into the craft beer scene, hooked up with Rob, and they're known for their IPAs. Mm-hmm. We came up with a badass one called Broken Skull IPA. But want to come over here and talk about you guys' beer. So my question to you, Brad, how old are you?
I'm 35 years young.
Okay, well, but in this business. Hey, man.
My liver's 80.
Okay, so you're 35.
Yeah.
We're in Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
At Noble Ale Works.
Right.
Where were you born?
I was born up down the street actually, I was born in Westminster, but I lived in Garden Grove, Anaheim border all my life.
Okay, when did you start drinking beer?
Let's say 21, Mom.
Say that.
Yeah. So.
If Mom's listening. Hello. No, but okay. My question is, you started drinking 21.
Yeah.
Right now, the craft beer movement is stronger than ever.
Yeah.
But what got you? What did you cut your teeth on? What did you start drinking?
The first craft beer I ever had.
No, not craft beer. What'd you start?
Rolling Rock, which was. Yeah, no, look, man, Garden Grove. It was crystal meth or Rolling Rock. I chose Rolling Rock.
Still got on your teeth.
I got on my teeth. Yeah. So
now you're just spending money on toothpaste.
That's right. Yeah, damn it. And beer. Rolling Rock. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like domestic light stuff. When you're a kid, it's whatever you can grab. So like. We did that. Didn't know that Rolling Rock is full of DMS, off flavor. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. That's what they want.
What's DMS?
It's characteristic dimethyl sulfide. Yeah, Rob. There you go. You're the guy that went
What
to
is
school.
it, Rob?
DMS, dimethyl sulfide. It's.
Is it good for you or bad for you?
I don't know if it's good for you or bad for you, but it lends a flavor that comes across that is described as like a steamed vegetable or canned corn, something like that.
My wife's a vegetarian. She'd probably love it.
Just straight up
Just
DMS.
give her a bottle of Rolling Rock and she'll know.
Does she like? To me, it smells and tastes a lot like if it's strong enough, like a can of green beans, like the Green Giant green beans. And I remember as a kid, I hated that shit. So things.
All three work.
Yeah. That's the one that stands out to me at DMS. But yeah, so that was my starting point for.
All right, so Matt, what is your function here?
I'm a brewer.
So which one of you guys is the head guy here? Who's making all decisions?
You know what? We work. We're a very, 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 very close team here. Me and Matt. I'm technically we're too close. Technically higher up. I guess I'm like at the top of the tree, and then you're like the bird right there, right below me, looking up, catching the feathers and
that's what happens. One rung down.
Well, Matt, what'd you grow up drinking?
Everybody gets there. You start off, whatever the homeless guy outside the liquor store will buy you.
That's
Coors Original. That's still
Coors
a good
Original
one.
still.
Yeah, we had a friend that worked at a grocery store, and he would just leave stuff out behind for us. We weren't picky,
Just anything.
Well, at the time, you just drink what you can get before you're 21.
You
but
guys
I didn't
really speaking like crab brewers. Rob, you already been on my podcast, but I don't remember asking you what you grew up drinking.
Oh, I was kind of getting cliche, but it's like whatever we could go buy. There was these liquor stores over in Hawthorne that would sell you basically with a high school ID. So I know there's like $3 for like a Meisterbrow 12-pack or something like that to get you through the night.
There you go.
So yeah, my dad already knows.
I remember back in the days, we used to come back from the track meeting, and me and my buddy Michael Rabb, he had a Ford Thunderbird. And back then, I thought I was all jacked up. About 205 pounds. But I looked older than I was. So I was going to kind of put a little air in my lungs. And just walk up to the counter with a 12-pack of whatever light beer it was. Miller Lite, Bud Light, or whatever it was. And it was natural light. We drink a lot of that cheap stuff. And, every now and I get carded. Most time I'd walk off with a 12-pack and get in the car. So it was we bought whatever was in vogue at the time. Yeah. Okay, but you jumped off. You said your first craft beer you ever tasted was what?
Arrogant Bastard, Stone Brewing. I was in my...
Now you're talking quiet. Come on.
Oh, okay. Sorry. See, like I'm.
No. You can talk quiet, but
I'm being nostalgic though. I'm going back to a place.
Nostalgic. But let's talk. But this is you're on the podcast. Just never won any awards. When you're talking loud, come.
Okay. All right.
When you start getting
that's
reflective.
What this is for, his arm.
When you start. When you get real reflective. There you go. Get
all right. Here we go. So we go. I remember it like it was yesterday.
We did my lights. This is a real come to Jesus moment here.
Sitting in my friend's backyard. My buddy, he didn't have any parents, and. We could do whatever we wanted. So
first craft beer,
Stone Arrogant Bastard, and it tasted like poop to me. I didn't like it. It was too much. It was too bitter. It was too much of everything.
Really?
But, yeah, at the time, yeah. But now I reflect on that beer fondly because I feel like I still taste that. And now, I don't go out of my way for Arrogant Bastard necessarily. I mean, if I see it, sometimes I'll have it. But yeah, that was my first experience with craft beer. And after that, I want to say maybe Belgian stuff. After that, that was kind of.
Man, I don't dig the Belgian stuff at all.
I get it.
Me and Rob were talking we got an Uber over here, SUV. But we were talking about the wheat stuff, the Belgian stuff. It just doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, that ester profile, right? I mean, a lot of times.
But everything's subjective when you come to beer, wrestling, whatever you like, whatever you like.
Yeah, some people like just very bitter, old school IPAs. A lot, caramel balancing out, with the hop.
I'm drinking one of your IPAs. What is this?
That I believe you're drinking is Big Wig.
That's good beer.
Thanks. It's our flagship IPA, so it's just straight up 6.7% ABV, and there's a little tiny bit of crystal malt in there. So old school-ish. I don't correct me, but IPAs a lot of times will have a fair amount of crystal malt, and we backed off of that big time when we started brewing IPAs here. It's me and Brewer Evan totally that wasn't our thing. So we like what we got.
From the malt grain, from the malt part of it.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of times back in the 90s, I guess, when American IPAs were coming out, big thing. It was so you'd throw in a fair amount of crystal malt that was sweet, residual sugars hanging around it. It'd fill out the body, the mouthfeel, and then you'd need to balance it out with a lot of bitterness. So that was, people would talk about IBU and just bitterness, and it was just a crazy balance where you just have this big ass thing. And then a bunch of now classic hops, C hops, Cascade, and Centennial, and Chinook. But yeah, so this is a departure from that.
So, what is the basic malts that you go to on your IPAs, Rob?
So, I don't know if you remember one of the first times we met. You and I were drinking a couple beers, and we were in the back in the warehouse when there was a bunch of grain, and we were talking about malts, and you were asking about. Why do I get some of these IPAs? And your description was like chocolatey. Well, they're not like chocolatey or roasty. They're still clear. They're not really that. But that's the character that I think you're talking about. Like when I pick up too much crystal malt, to me it tastes like iced tea or something like that. So we go really light on that. In fact, in your beer there's no crystal malt at all.
Right.
You'll find it in some of our beers that have a little bit more color, but I mean, like these guys, I use it very sparingly because I think it can really kind of compete with the hops and kind of take over the grain bill pretty quick.
And the Broken Skull IPA, Cascade, Chinook, and Citra hops, correct, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, and this Bigwig, what are the hops?
Matt?
Don't look at your
Bring
cheat
it,
sheet.
Matt. Hey, what's the ABV on this thing?
6.8.
It's 6.8.
Okay.
It's Citra, Simcoe, Galaxy, and Chinook.
Boom.
Yeah.
Nice job, pal.
Impressed.
Okay,
Steel trap.
Brad, when did you start? Did you get a homebrew kit?
Yeah.
How'd you get into brewing?
Yeah, homebrew kit. Yeah, and
Like at what age did you start doing this? Because I know Rob started.
Hey, Bridget, my wife's here. Bridget, when did I start homebrewing?
About 12 years ago.
You
12 years
ain't
ago.
been hit in the head with no steel chairs. You got a memory like me.
Yeah, but
but you brew beer for a living. That's why you can't remember that.
So yeah, it doesn't help. Yeah.
What'd you cut your teeth on when you first started brewing?
Trying to make IPAs. I have liked IPAs for as long as I can remember. That's my go-to style. Yeah, so yeah, that's what we've been doing here. That's what we do. We like IPAs here. So, and yeah, going back to Rob's point about the malt, it lends to like an oxidation character. Like it seems like when a beer falls off, it gets oxidized. The hop profile falls off, and you notice malt more. And that's the thing what we were talking about with that. Just I feel like it seems prematurely aged a lot of times with these old school-ish. I don't know. I don't want to insult anybody, but yeah, I mean, we make an IPA here called Back on the Day, and we go for it's almost like a hoppy red ale. Like we go for that, and we don't drink a lot of it, but we make it and it goes over really, really big in the taste room. So yeah,
Like on the way down here, you and I were talking about some beers, and I'm not going to mention who that was, but some of those they get so just sticky and boggy down where you don't really want to have more than half of a glass because it can really lend itself to being a lot more heavy and a lot more presence.
Matt, what'd you start brewing? Did you get a homebrew kit? How'd you get into this?
I was really bad at it. Couldn't figure out why things were exploding or why it tasted so bad, but
that sounds like my stuff.
Had trouble finding something I want to do with my life, and then I like beer, and then you just start weaseling your way into doing things, and then you end up 4 years later.
you weaseled hard.
But
too.
would you brew batch after batch, trying to
Yeah, you try.
And what were you brewing?
You start with like a pale, something easy, you throw some hops in it, learn as you go, but
Yeah.
But see, like with you guys, every time most of the guys that I've talked to and craft beer stuff are real detail oriented, obviously very passionate about what you do. Rob is. Me, man, my attention span's everywhere. I had a neighbor, Dave. He just moved away. Happy birthday, Dave. It's his birthday today. and he would make a batch just about every month or so. And me, man, as much as I love beer, I just don't have the time or patience to mess with it. So it's like home brewing for me. I was glad I hooked up with Rob. I got the best of both worlds. I got a genius, and they do all the work. And he came up with a formula. I talk about it a lot, but I like to be in a part of the process. But it just wasn't my cup of tea.
It is detail oriented. There's I have like a tinge of OCD as well. So it's a lot of cleaning. You got to make sure what the beer is touching is sanitary for sure. It has a ton of that detail oriented with that. And then just if you make good recipe sheets, if you can keep track of what you did last time, then you drink the beer and you're like, man, something's wrong with this. There's too bitter or whatever. You can look up what you possibly is wrong. Like, it's astringent on the palate. There's dry bitterness. What could it be? Is it too much bittering addition? Did I sparge too hot? Who knows? And so you can go back and look at that. But yeah, it is attention to detail is big for sure. I mean,
it's funny you mentioned the cleaning. I think this vision that everybody has of what we do is like this glorious vision of us staring up at this clear glass of beer.
Like the commercial.
Yeah.
Sam Adams commercial where he's pouring hops in. Like, oh, man, this is the best job ever.
So after like the novelty wore off when I first opened up, when people asked me what I did, I clean stuff.
That's what I do.
That was the thing. It's kind of like around me the wrestling business because people see the product on TV and they think, oh, you're just getting a squared circle and you go like crazy and everybody's cheering and you go back and it's all glamour. Yeah. No. That's the thing. When I met Rob, I said, man, there's a lot of work to this. Because my few little gallons that I brewed, I can't say how clean I was. I don't even think I drank hardly any of the beers I made anyway. But there's a lot of cleaning to it. So it ain't all the glamour. We were talking about a couple of mishaps in the back before we started hitting the sound button. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong over here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's we've had explosions from hops hitting the beer. So we dry hop through upper portion of the tank, pour in dry pelletized hops. And we had a hoppy lager we did for quite a while. Actually, we have it on right now. We don't make it very often. We used to make it all the time. But the cooler the beer is, the more CO2 is held on in the solution. So if you pour in nucleation points such as hop pellets, dry hop pellets, all that CO2 starts to come out. So you're sitting there pouring in, I just want to be done. It's the last thing you do of the day, of course. So you're pouring in hops. All of a sudden, like, oh, this is weird. There's like a lot of stuff coming out of here, things. And all of a sudden, beer's hitting the roof. And it's cold. And you're covered in it. Your phone's covered in it. Your shoes are covered in it. So that happened to me twice, and that's why we don't make that beer that much anymore. So that's a big thing that happens sometimes. Beer shower. If even you're always dumping from the bottom of these conical tanks, right? So it's always collecting either hops or yeast. That's the purpose of those tanks. So you have a hose coming out of the bottom, opening the buckets. You're just kind of like, sometimes it just isn't coming. Come on, you put some pressure on it. All of a sudden, boom. And you're hit in the face, in the stomach, and everything with hops and or yeast. And if you get hops in your eyes, liquid hops in your eyes, a slurry of hops, it doesn't feel good. It's painful. It's like just a bunch of little needles hitting your eyeballs there. It sucks. So that kind of stuff happens. I mean, and then you're working with a lot of pressure too in the tank. So I mean, it can be dangerous. Fortunately, we haven't anything, done.
No one has lost a life here yet. So how'd you make the decision, like, okay, man, I think we can do this for a living. We'll open a brewery, and we'll call it Noble Ale Works, and then we'll start selling beer. Yeah. How did this all happen? Did you have this master plan, this grand scheme?
I'm not the owner of this place. I'm the brewer. We're both brewers. The good part is, the cool part is we're able to brew what we want to brew. And so our board of directors and the guys that are in charge here fortunately like what we do. So they just say, "Hey, keep doing it. You're doing a good job." And we have core beers, but what got me here was hanging out here and becoming friendly with people here in the business, but here. And I asked, hey, at one point my previous career was kind of just. I'm just bummed out and bored, and so I asked, hey, can I work the taste room or just get in? I want to. Taste room's the bar, and but I want to get in the brewery. I want to start, just learning this stuff and on a professional level. And they were nice enough. We got along. They were nice enough to say okay. And, that's where it began. So I was working in the brewery for little to no money, and Tasting Room was where I was actually making some money. But, the passion was on the brewing side. So, and then so at the time, Evan came over as the brewer from Taps, this other really great brewery, won a bunch of awards, and I was lucky enough. We got along very well, and kind of the rest is history. We just started. We have a very similar palate. We like the same kind of beer, IPAs. We got really weird on an English tangent for quite a while. Here's the problem with English beers: nobody likes them other than us. So it was. We went to England together, and what's badass about English beers is there's so much body on say a 3% to 4% beer. It's like mind blowing. Body and flavor. It's crazy. But here's the thing: in America, people haven't had that experience in England. I mean, who has goes to pub? Not a lot of people have gone to pubs in England in America. So the profiles are very different, and we tried to replicate that here. We think we did a decent job. Okay, we had a cast program that was cool, and but nobody likes them.
People love casts.
Well, it's funny. We had Andy from who was up at McLeod, which is his thing is English style brewing, traditional brewing practice. Now he's opening what's the name of the new place down in Torrance? Oh, I feel like a
Downton Abbey, down Yorkshire
Square.
Yeah, Yorkshire Square.
Anyway, he came on with us for a few months because he knew he had some time to kill. Before he did his own thing, or before he started that project, and he made some great English style beers. One of which being an IPA for us, and they're great, and all the brewers appreciate it. These guys probably would appreciate it, but your average Joe coming in off the street in Southern California doesn't get it.
The question you get a lot of times in the tasting room is, "What's your highest alcohol?" And and you can never point at an English beer for that ever. No, unfortunately. So that's a thing. Yeah.
What's your highest alcohol?
Yeah. Well, it's funny in England. The question at the pubs is, "What's your lowest alcohol?" I saw patrons get into arguments with the bartenders, the pub tenders, whatever, in England, and over we have a strong bitter. Oh yeah, what's that? Oh, it's like it's a strong mild. What's a strong mild? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's 4%. 4%. I can't drink that. I'm to go to, it's like they have, I guess, strict laws about driving or something over there. But they want the lowest. It's opposite, totally opposite. Very interesting to me.
Hang on, swig of beer.
Swig of beer.
Can I ask a question really quick? Mm-hmm. I'm curious. When you guys came on, did they when they started you in the brew house? Did they have did they start you cleaning the drains, doing things? Because we kind of had
with our tongue. It was that, but everyone likes that.
Well, that's kind of because everybody has we talked this glorious vision.
Yeah. Oh no.
So we start guys generally on the keg washer, and we stick you in that corner, in that cold, wet corner with the keg washer. Yeah. And if you do a good job and you show up and your attitude is still good after a couple months, then maybe you'll get a shot. Yeah. But it's kind of a weeding out process.
Yeah. That was you came on with. But you came out with another person, as Matt did. Matt came out with another person as well, and it was a back and forth. You guys were fighting everywhere. But
we
when I
stripped down our underwear and fought in the pit.
Naked fights. But but Evan likes that sort of thing. I started. What did I do? I just started doing everything, and then and Evan was brewing. I was cleaning and all that stuff, and learned. It was trial by fire though, because when he came on, we needed to turn this place around and try to make a name for ourselves. So that was the thing. So it was trial by fire. It was 12-hour days forever. And so, but we did it. I stuck around. I was happy to stick around. It was a lot of work, but that makes sense what you're saying. You just, all right, you're not going to throw hops. You're not going to touch a hop. You're not going to smell a hop till you do 6 months of keg washing. That makes sense. Yeah, totally.
Well, I love when I get guys applying for jobs saying, and I can help you with your recipe development. It's like, oh, great. Finally, somebody helped with my recipes.
Yeah. They already want to jump in on that level. Hey, man, you got to pay your dues first.
Yeah.
All right, before we continue on, I need to take care of another great sponsor of the Steve Austin Show, Diamond Dallas Page and his DDPY program. Dallas knows y'all are trying to be healthier and live better this year, and that it ain't always easy to stay on that path. That's why he's offering the biggest sale ever on DDP Yoga right now. He's giving y'all 25% off the DDP Yoga Now app, the DDPY DVDs, and all DDPY swag. You can get 25% off t-shirts, mats, heart monitors, hats, and more. Just go to ddpyoga.com/Austin. And that's not all. If you buy the DDPY Max Pack today, you'll get 50% off your second copy. So that's 50% off the 25% off you're already getting. That's a huge savings. And of course, if you buy the DDPY DVDs for 25% off, you still get 3 free months of the DDP Yoga Now app. Dallas' program has already helped thousands of people, and not just professional wrestlers like Scott Hall, Jake the Snake, and Mick Foley. DDPY helped disabled veteran Arthur Borman and literally thousands of people just like you and me get on the path to healthier living. DDPY is more than just a workout, a whole lot more, and Dallas gives you all the tools and information you need to eat better, exercise, and monitor your progress. He also offers plenty of his own personal motivation. So take control of your own health and fitness. Get on the DDPY program today and take advantage of this huge sale. 25% off all DDPY-related merch at ddpyoga.com/Austin. That's ddpyoga.com/Austin.
You are about to participate in a great adventure.
Something I can see coming out of that black hole of the eyes. It might be a face.
You wanted more of the best in paranormal talk radio? Podcast One and Jericho Network answered. Now, 5 nights a week, Beyond the Darkness. Subscribe now.
Okay, let's talk about paying your dues and your work way up. Okay, so you're the lead brewer here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at the menu,
Yeah.
and y'all have lightish, hoppyish, and unique-ish. And so there's different beers under each label. Okay, my question, if you're a brewer like you are, you've got these beers, okay, all of a sudden you want to create the next latest, greatest IPA. You know, I don't ask any trade secrets, as we would say in a pro wrestling business.
Right.
But how do you go about saying, okay, like when me and Rob created Broken Skull IPA, and I keep referring back into that beer because that's the beer that I sat in, and we made that beer, and Rob's made 1 million beers. So, man, we started taking all these beers and say, I like the way this one hits me here. I like this. I don't like that. Too many IBUs. This is great. And so Rob just listened to me, and we kind of on the same palette. When he speaks way more technical than I do, but he understood what I was saying, and we came up with that beer. So he had my feedback to come up with that beer. I talked to him about his formulation. So how will you sit down and we just sit there in the quiet of your house, or you would be drinking a beer and say, okay, all these things would sound good together?
Well, usually...
Help me create an IPA.
Right.
Without giving away your trade secret.
Right. Well, first, early on, it was, what do you like about IPAs you drink? I mean, it's what you do. You sat down with a bunch of beers, and you're like, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. So that was early on. So that was the big wig. That's the longest running IPA we've had. We've got that to a decent spot, I think, at this point. Anymore, so we're working on those hazy IPAs right now, trying to get that right in our heads. What could be right about those? And so me and Matt will talk. And hey, what do you think about this last one? You know, was it too dry? Was it not dry enough? What do you think the hop profile? Was that weird? You know, the body on it, and go from there. So it's trial and error. That's where we're at with. I think that's what it is to brew beer, though, is trial and error, or make anything, really. Just like, all right, that didn't work, scrap it, or totally scrap it, or build on it. Mostly it's building on it. So, you know, we recently switched our base malt on our hazy IPAs recently because we thought maybe it lent some interesting, not so interesting characters we didn't necessarily like. So we've got a couple beers right now in the tank that are like that, and we'll see. And the thing with beers too, it's like you can taste them out of the fermenter, and they're fermenting, you know, week or two. But it's not until you're pouring it into the glass on draft, carbonated, that then it's like, okay, now I know what this beer's all about. And I mean, you drink out of the bright. Even the bright, though, you know, it's kind of the bright take, which is the last step of the process. even then, you're kind of like, okay, there's, it's still pretty kind of green.
Steve's familiar with that. He was before we released his beer, a couple days before. I was just like, don't stress, don't sweat it. This beer will come around because the beer was not there before. But
I was like nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But Rob, in the form of creation, and I want to get to the hazy IPAs because Rob and I were talking about this on the way up here from Marina Del Rey, the hazy IPAs in the Northeast. They're kind of a thing that are getting popular. Mm-hmm. Or out here, you're bringing them out here. Or they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. It's kind of
is
disease just spreading.
Is it a fad? What's the story?
Whether
this
it's
is on you.
Fad,
Is it a fad, Rob? Come on, it's you.
I'm sitting across the table from these guys. I'm afraid of casting myself as a dinosaur. I don't know. I don't know if it's a fad or not. I think that some people are doing it with very specific intentions and getting what they want, and I think that's great. I think there's also a lot of people out there just kind of throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what's going to stick process-wise. And, we were talking among the brewers earlier, and that's my concern really is if people are putting out beers that traditionally are not finished and not perfect beers, and if all of a sudden that becomes acceptable, I'm just afraid of what that opens the door for. However, I've had several of these things, and that is what the rage is. The aromatics can be insane. The flavor can be insane. They are much heavier beers. I mean, there's some of these things that will look like vanilla milkshakes, and I mean, you get down to that bottom of the glass, and you're feeling that yeast in your belly, or whatever the proteins or whatever that is in suspension.
Beer community, did you hear that? Rob said these are BS beers. I'm pretty sure he said that.
I was trying to be as nice as I could.
No. What are your thoughts, Brad?
And to be completely hypocritical, we have something kind of murky in our tank right now.
Are you really? Seriously?
We have something. And you can blame Logan and Tom and Daniel for that one.
No. There's a lot. As a brewery, your whole life has been trying to make clear, bright beer, right? That's because we know that yeast in suspension and is problematic. It can create off flavors. Its shelf stability is an issue, and so we look at it going like you see that in your glass right there. That's a hazy IPA. You can't see your middle finger through that, and.
So this is, hazy and unfiltered, then two different ball games.
Yeah.
Well, our beer is not filtered. I mean, we're fine, and these days we're doing the centrifuge. But this is...
You have a centrifuge?
This is the first hazy IPA I've had then. Because, you can't see through that.
No,
is that going to settle down at all?
That's gross. Who would want to drink that?
Pineapple juice.
What was that? What was the question?
This won't settle down. It
won't settle. No, this has been canned for, thank you, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, it looked like that when we put it in there.
So how does it maintain that? I mean,
a lot of it has to do with,
that's color.
Science. Something about science. Yeah.
It is science. You're blinded. You can't see through it.
Jesus, Thomas Dolby reference.
Yeah, sorry. So no, it's a combination of all the ingredients. The malt, the yeast. Not so much the water. The water you can adjust for mouthfeel, but otherwise. And then hops. You hammer the hops. Just give it away. Who cares? Hammer the hops. You use a specific kind of Northeast-style yeast that helps. There's an interaction that seems to happen with the hops and the yeast as well. I know it does happen, but it also visibly it seems like it happens. And then you use wheat. A fair amount of wheat, unmalted wheat. There's so starches that come through and just hang out in the beer. So
do oats.
We do oats. Although here's the thing, we've used oats and rolled barley at this point. We have spelt as well. We haven't used it yet, but it doesn't seem to affect the clarity all that much as it does just the body and mouthfeel. People want a thick. You look at this thing. It looks like you're going to chew on it. You got to cut through it with a knife.
Damn, it looks like orange juice.
Orange juice. Yeah,
it tastes good, though.
You like it?
So
it's good.
You mentioned the juice. That's kind of the juicy IPA is what they're calling it. You get a lot of that juicy.
Okay. They're saying juicy. So you kind of get the essence of what what you're trying to do here. What they're trying to do. It's
That's very surprising. I didn't think I'd like that. That's damn good.
I didn't think. Every time I look at it, I don't want to like this.
Yeah, I told Rob. I just had the guy stop pouring my beer because I told Rob, I said, "This is generic. I mean, this is organic." I told Rob, "We're not going to go down and just get shit faced, but we got an Uber driver, so if I end up getting shit faced, I do. We got a few more beers to try."
Yeah, we do.
God dang, I didn't think that I would like that beer just based on how it looked.
Yeah, to me, it's hideous. It's too sweet. It's the hop profile is tropical. I like the hop profile on it, but
no, I can't drink 6 of them. But
you can't.
Well, I mean,
I think I've seen you drink 6 beers.
Those are mostly water.
You're talking to an expert over here. not in the knowledge, but in the partaking of. Yeah. So I dig this.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so we're trying. What
This is the 24 karat juice
can?
Yeah.
Do we have the can? We can.
Yeah, I think you
camera
can. Yeah, you have to drink it. Label out.
Label out. this beer is 24 karat juice. That's the name of the beer. I guess we had our marketing guy over there, Vito. Hey, Vito. Thank you.
In the building.
So, we released this. It sold out very quickly. And I do like this style, actually, honestly. Yeah.
What's the ABV?
8.5. Okay. Double IPA.
It's tricky.
It's a beer.
Tricky.
Wow.
It's a tricky. And
doesn't taste like 8.5.
That's what's so fun about this style. So I get it. It's not for brewers. But it's fun to try to get it quote unquote right.
Well, so I look at this like, if you look at maybe 10, 15 years ago, if people look at the IPAs, the standard traditional now West Coast IPA, traditional brewers would have choked on those. They would have balked. That's way out of balance. And now, this time it's kind of the standard for the style. So as brewers, we got to keep our minds open to them. I'm talking to myself right now. Got to keep our minds open to this because, it really is. It's a style that's evolving. Yeah. It's going to find its place. I don't know if it's always going to be the end all be all.
That's the question, yeah.
Let me ask you, let me jump in here. Speaking of what's evolving, man, I always talk to Rob, the IPA. I mean, but that's just, to me, just like I got an IPA swing and I can't quit. And so they're running strong.
Right.
You love IPAs. Yeah. Out of all the beers that you make, I'm sitting there looking at the menu. I mean, what's the most that you sell?
Oh, God. Well,
what's your crowd here? What's your flavor?
Our number one flavor is for people who don't like beer at all. It's naughty sauce. So that's, I'm being facetious, but it's a coffee beer. It's there's a ton of coffee in it. It's supposed to be it's a stout. We call it a stout. It's not a stout. It's light colored, and connotatively, a stout is dark colored. So. That was the purpose with that beer, just to mind F you. And so you smell it. Wow, it's weird. It smells like a stout. Drink it. It tastes like a stout. There's a lot of sugar in the beer and a lot of coffee. Ton of coffee in the beer. So, that's it.
All right, man, here's a stupid question. When you say there's coffee in the beer, is this going to be an upper rather than a sedative?
There's
caffeine
There's a little bit of caffeine that rolls over, but not that much, actually.
Okay.
It doesn't. I forget. We talked about it with the coffee.
So it's a decaf.
It's not quite a decaf. There's a little bit, but yeah.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Always, Rob, same thing. I want to go over to this brewery. How do you come up with all these names? We got Pistol Whipped, Tank Top, Swole Patrol, a little more hazy, a little more experimental, Big Wig, Tongue Tickles, family friendly, Darkish, Man's Milk, Life is Pitless, Naughty Sauce.
Right. Well,
how do you come up with these names? Who does this?
We're high all the time here. That's a big thing. Marijuana. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really do marijuana. But it has been, it's a fun aspect. We just sit around, we all look at each other and go, what's this beer called? Sometimes it'll be, the name, we'll write it down because, okay, at some point we have to use this as a name. Let's see. But yeah, it's a back and forth. Vito, Matt, me, we're
end of the day, grab a beer, kick the
sit
boots
down,
off.
Kick the boots off, big time, and
spitball.
Yeah, people always ask naughty sauce, and I always tell them, oh yeah, the beer was naughty, it didn't turn dark. It's just naughty beer, But in reality, that was just like, hey, it sounds funny, right? Tongue tickles. Part of me likes coming up with names that make people uncomfortable. I just like making people uncomfortable.
But not too on the nose.
And not in the nose. No, right, exactly. I don't like this is, something dirty IPA.
This is our new beer called Boner.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to do
For
that.
example, yeah.
Give me a boner.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Said the 75-year-old guy.
That's a great name.
Boner's a great name. What are we doing? Matt, write that down. Boner.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, hang on, I was a part of developing that. I want that in the menu here.
I'll write that down. Yeah, well, Boner, inspired by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah.
Hey,
Mr.
when you come
Cole's
up with a new
boner.
beer, when we came up with Broken Skull IPA, Rob, jump in here. He put it on the tap, and it was called 231.
Yeah, it was kind of just
Why?
an experimental name because we didn't want to let the cat out of the bag that was your beer. So I think it was two malts, 3 hops, try one, and we're going to kind of go down that until we got it right. Fortunately for us, that's kind of where it stopped because that first batch worked.
But it was interesting because people kept buying the 231 along with everything else they got over at
Yeah, but it went over pretty
so,
good.
Yeah, so when you bust out a new beer, you're sitting there looking, okay, let's see what they think about it.
Well, especially for me right now with these hazy ones, because I think the end all be all for our area right now is probably Henry from Monkish, and he's doing releasing those all the time, and he does a great job, great balance, great hot profile, everything. And
Henry, who used to have the no MSG, no IPA sign, and
well,
his
you know
brewery,
why
by
you
the
got to
way.
call him out, man.
Because he's my buddy, and it's totally warranted.
Yeah, yeah. No, so he does a great job with them, and so every release that we do of these hazy beers, I will go on Untapped, which is a social media way of kind of seeing where people check in and then rate the beer. So I want to see how people like them, So I do follow that. Lately, I've been doing just with these beers. Overall, I mean, I think overall, we like going for what we like. We like making what we like, but I think we like these, right? You like these? I mean, they're fine, and totally
good,
okay.
yeah.
And so yeah, that's a way were able to do that, and yeah, just it gives you word on the street sort of thing. Yeah, so what's happening out there?
If you're going to go try a different beer, there's a liquor store, beer store, it's about 5 miles from my house. But you can go there. I mean, you can get just one-offs of everything. Because I hate buying a six-pack of something, and then the first
So
one
they let you
sucks.
put together a 6-pack.
Yeah, well, you put together a six-pack. My point is, the point I'm going to get to ask you is, when I'm buying a beer, if I got to get a six-pack of something to try it, I will. Sometimes I can just get a bomber or a 12-ounce single, that's great, or a 16-ounce, whatever it is. If I can just get a one-off, that's great. But if I don't like something, I'll throw the rest of that so much away, just because I won't drink beer that I don't like.
Right.
So when you go out, if you're traveling abroad, because you just talk about you and your wife going to New York City, spend some time in
Don't
Tennessee.
talk about my wife like that.
Y'all
Just kidding.
I'm going to leave that one alone. If you're out and about, what will you order? I mean, what will you buy? What will you drink? Will you just all IPAs? Or
Oh, no.
if you can't get Noble, if you can't get El Segundo,
If I can't get El Segundo or Noble, right? That's if I'm
Yeah, you're out on the streets
I always
in the middle
order
of nowhere.
my own beer every place. I love paying for my own beer, number one. But if I see a beer I recognize as an IPA, but I typically lean for IPAs. If we're at a place where I'm going to have a burger, buffalo wings, big time, IPA. I like a Berliner Weiss or a Goza. I go that direction. It's a lot of times there's some fruit in there. I dig that. It just depends on your mood. I mean, but generally, yeah, I do go for IPAs, and if I've heard of them, great. If I haven't, then yeah, can I taste that real quick? I just because I won't. I guess it just bums me out to have to drink a beer that I just dwell on, like, oh, what a bummer. Do they know this is a thing? Because sometimes it's the lines, and you never know.
So I kind of have something to add to that.
Yeah.
I travel all over for my daughter's softball, so all over California pretty much. When I go somewhere new, I always make a point to stop by the local bottle shops and get beers that I can't get anywhere else. And without slamming anybody, it's really surprising the amount of crappy beer out there. I mean, there's a lot of crappy beer. We kind of live in a bubble because we're all in the same circle and we know where to go, and so we're not drinking crappy beer. But the chances are, I think, if you go out and just try some random beer off the shelf. It may not be good.
Yeah, but just any random beer if they have craft beer, because a lot of times if you go to a restaurant,
doesn't necessarily make it good. It just makes it small.
Yeah, but I won't. If there's a restaurant, that doesn't have an IPA beer, I mean, well, you just eliminated my whole beer thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to drink. I don't want a pale ale. I don't want a stout. Do I drink stouts? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go out and eat, I don't want one.
Right.
And I don't want any of the other stuff out there. So if there's not an IPA out there, I'm screwed. So then I've got to switch to the hard stuff, and I got to hand the keys over to my wife.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, my point is, I mean, you got to have an IPA on the menu. If you ain't got an IPA on the menu, I ain't going to come to your restaurant.
IPA on the menu.
Yeah.
You do. These days,
Yeah, you got to have.
it's 2017, people.
Right.
Yeah, but it's
2017,
still,
it really is that. Yeah.
It's still that 20%, I think. I had a friend who put it perfectly. It's like he used to brew with me in the early days when I really needed the help. But he'd say, it's pretty easy to make beer. It's not easy to make good beer. And I think that you really see that.
I think, yeah, and it's, I don't know, the amount of beer at a beer bar you'll have with some one or two off flavors that you just pick out is pretty surprising, and it's a bummer.
Fortunately for us, we kind of run in these circles where you kind of know what's what, and we usually don't go out and drink crappy beer because you either know what to order or you know where to go or whatever, but that's not the case for everybody out there.
No, I know. It could you could do one or two things for a new craft beer drinker. It's either turning them on to something that you shouldn't be turned on to, just, classically speaking, I guess, or profile wise with off flavors, or it turns people off to craft beer, and it's like, screw this. I don't like craft. This craft beer is horrible. I'm going to go back to my Coors Light, and that's it.
I'm not going to spend $12 for a 6-pack.
Yeah, exactly. $3 a bottle, or whatever.
What do you guys try to do as far as marketing, getting the word out? I mean, and where all can Noble Ale Works beer be found at? Are y'all strictly California?
Oh, yeah, Southern California. We're small. I mean, you saw our system.
But you guys are about to expand a little bit.
We are, yeah. So at that point, we'll be way, our reach will be way bigger, yeah. But right now, we're Southern California, San Diego, IE, Orange, LA counties. So that's it. And,
so there's a lot of word of mouth? What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't, Vito over there, our guy Vito, he does our Instagram account, and that's kind of fun. We have had some followers.
We do a bunch of wacky things.
We do wacky things. Yeah.
What kind of wacky things you doing?
Oh, gosh. We Crowler Phil. We do just if you have a fun idea. A lot of times it's just he has a really good camera, and it's not wacky, but he does real serious beer pictures. And then every so often we'll crowbar like someone's
the pallet jack or something.
Riding the pallet jack. Someone's doing a silly voice.
Well, I'll throw a couple at you. So our breweries have like this kind of it's a respectful rivalry, and so for LA Beer Week every year they do this event where the breweries put together bands, and the bands go up and can be great, can be terrible. So we've made bets with these guys for the last couple of years, where whoever finishes higher, that's what the bet is based on. I don't think either of us have ever won anything, but like a couple of years ago, they finished higher than us, so our guys had to shave or had to write Noble on their chest with no shirts, post the pictures. Then last year, El Segundo finished higher than Noble, so these guys had to show up at our brewery dressed as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hand out pizza, and tell our customers how great our beer was.
I dress up like that on the weekends anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Not much of a stretch.
Hey, Rob, you just brought this up. Collaboration. You got something you just posted on your Instagram the other day for El Segundo Brewing Company. You're doing, 7 different beers?
I think we're going to do 6 different collaboration with breweries that, with breweries that we respect that are not really, right here in LA, kind of getting breweries to LA that people don't really know all that well. So the first one we're doing with Mike Hunsaker from he's at Fatheads right now. He's actually starting his own brewery called Grains of Wrath.
Where's Fatheads at?
They're in Chicago and then Portland. He's the Portland guy.
Okay.
Just a killer brewer. Guy gets his stuff, and we're doing a really cool IPA with them.
So, and then the other 5 you already have picked out, or work in progress?
I don't think I can actually officially announce what
Okay, but what can we talk about? you're going to make an IPA with this guy?
Okay, so we're making IPA with this guy, and part of the fun of the whole thing that we're doing is, it's making the beer, but then it's also kind of getting to know the people and getting to know their process a little bit. So this guy, he came down, and they have different process, different ingredients. So this particular beer, we're using a malt called Red X, which is something I've never brewed with before, but it gives us just this beautiful, like ruby red kind of hue. A tiny bit of a bready background, but not like super roasty. So what I want to do on this beer, or what we kind of agreed on, is I think we thought it'd be fun to have this thing come across. When you pour it, it's going to have like this red kind of quality to it. You're going to look at it, you're going to think it's like this American amber with this awesome color. But on the grain bill side, we kind of cut it a lot with two-row, which we all use a lot, and we cut it a lot with a little bit of dextrose to keep the body like super lean. So people are going to look at this beer and go, oh man, it's a red ale. But then we're going to hammer them with some different varieties of hops. We're going to use Simcoe and Amarillo, which we use in the background. But then this other variety that we haven't brewed with called Vic Secret. It's got these big tropical and kind of pine notes. So it's going to look like one thing. People are going to make their assumptions. They're going to taste it, and it should come across totally different than that.
Man, that sounds really cool. And I always love hearing about the hops. I went over to Sierra Nevada about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I can't remember. I've been hitting that with so many steel chairs. Talked to Ken Grossman. Man, I went with my brother-in-law, and we drove down from Sparks, Nevada. And we did the whole thing, did the tour, ate lunch with him. I asked all my good questions at lunch while we were drinking. By the time podcast showed up, I done burned myself out.
What is beer?
Yeah. Anyway, we walked into that hop room. God dang, there ain't nothing like the smell of hops. You mentioned marijuana a while ago. Hops to me has a very similar smell. I mean, just because it's
they're
just
related,
right. But I like the way marijuana smells. I don't like to smoke it.
Right.
But hops, man, I love the way that stuff smells. You mentioned a couple of hops that I hadn't heard of. The ones that Galaxy.
Yeah, Galaxy's awesome.
Go through a couple of the hops. Did you go through again?
What we were talking about in our IP, Galaxy. Go ahead, Matt. You're the guy with that.
Bust it out, Matt.
I said Citra, Simcoe, Galaxy, and Chinook.
All of those are hops.
Yeah.
So
but those ones we've been talking about.
Yeah. There's everyone uses those, man.
Galaxy.
So there's Galaxy. Yeah. So there's several, a few. What do you call those? Longitudes or latitudes? I don't know. But the ones that are this way.
One's up and one's down.
One's up.
No one can see your hand.
Yeah. So no, it's the viewers at home will see. Anyway, so there's South Africa. There's New Zealand, Australia. There's certain spots in the world that grow because of the amount of sunlight they get, and then Pacific Northwest, another spot. So you have a couple of those latitudes, longitudes that you can grow hops at. So some of the ones that are you were not familiar with all that much. The Pacific Northwest has done forever. But now we're getting the Australia, New Zealand, South Africa profiles, and a lot of these are just so bright.
We've been talking to a South African broker, and there's some of these varieties. Just the descriptions are insane.
Oh.
I gotta make my boner IPA with that.
That's the boner.
You get that African
Yeah,
queen.
but
in your boner
boner
IPA.
IPA. Yeah.
But how can there be a shortage of the hops that you want to make a particular beer? Because I'm talking to Rob. I mean, hey man, you use specific hops, and you got to jump in line or have your order, whatever the deal is.
There's contracts you can do and that kind of thing down the line. You guarantee, because basically you're guaranteeing the hop provider, the people you talk to, the salespeople, that you're going to buy this amount, and then they go turn around to their growers, and then they promise them, okay, we got this stuff, so you can invest in these this equipment, the plants themselves, and all that. So you're looking at like years down the line for that sort of thing. It takes what almost. It's several years to come up with actual new hop variety as well. So
I told somebody that. What'd you say, Matt?
It's 11 years, I believe.
Yeah, but I told someone else that the other day, and they said, "No, man, it don't come. It takes about a year." I said, "No, man,
That's not at all right."
I know it takes a long ass time.
Yeah, it does. It's trial and error, and
there's one harvest. So
so it's a balance of how well received they are by brewers, number one, and then also. How well the crop itself, how well the plant itself produces, and the volume. So it's a
size of the cone, production, drought tolerance, pest tolerance, all those things.
That's right,
it's like an 8-year trial. And then you get that cool experimental name, and that's still a few years to see if it actually is going to
Keep it going. Yeah.
Brad, I got a serious question for you. Who I got to talk to around this joint to get a goddamn beer?
Yeah, no, come on.
Holy smokes.
There's one man here, our marketing guy, Vito. He's also...
Yeah.
You go under.
You're 6 years old. You have to go under the table.
All right, we got. Is it a beer break? Are you familiar with Crowlers, Steve?
Before you pop it, what is it?
This is the Tongue Tickles double IPA.
It's clear. So I hate to bum you out, but it's a clear IPA.
Less body.
Yeah.
Dude, I dig a clear IPA. I'm into clear IPAs.
I'm into clear IPA.
No,
Okay, now
mostly you're into clear.
Talk to me about this Crowler name.
Oh no, Crowler is a funny word play. You're familiar with growlers.
Yeah.
The jugs, basic glass jugs you put and take home beer in. So this is a can that you take home beer in. And so it's a Crowler.
I got it.
With the C,
That's
right?
great.
It's brilliant, right?
But what's the IPA?
we had an IPA called Crowler Phil, which I don't know if it's still on here.
So what's the name of this beer
It's
we're
just
drinking?
blue. This one's Tongue Tickles.
Oh, it's Tongue Tickles.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
And it's an IPA.
Yeah, we
I'm
won
going to
the
read
first
to you
LA IPA Festival.
it's under the hoppyish category of the menu here at Noble Ale Works. What is this podcast today? I ain't never won no award. I ain't going to win no award with this show. It doesn't make a damn. Here, cheers.
Hey, cheers.
Swig a beer. God dang, I like it.
Man, that's fun, right?
Back to the description. It tickled my tongue.
That's right.
Our heavy-hitting take on a West Coast double IPA. This beer features a generous amount of Galaxy, Citra, and Simcoe hops, bursting with layers of stone fruit, bright citrus, and pineapple. Tongue Tickles pours out a beautiful straw golden color that isn't too malty nor too bitter as you drink it. Do you even tickles, bro? See, I read this menu. You can tell by that in delivery. 8.0. Do you even tickles, bro?
You know what? I've never read this before. I don't know who wrote this, but
well, tell me about it. Is that a bad write-up?
No, it's
a good write-up.
You know what? Whoever did this, I think I did this probably. We'll be like,
you were drunk.
When am I not? That's a decent description. I mean, what? Do you disagree? I guess do you disagree with because it is all perception. And
oh man, well, here's the thing: when you talk about layers of stone fruit, bright citrus, and pineapple, I don't know what layers of stone fruit is.
Well, picture
Talk to me.
Picture like nectarines, tangerines.
Yep.
Let's say even why not plum? Let's just throw that in there because it's fun. It's a stone fruit, right? All right. It's a stone.
I get it.
Fruit, right? I was gonna do a Stone Cold thing, but it's not gonna work. All right, so. Okay. All right. Anyway, whatever. All right, so. Just picture layers of that. To me, dry. I got when I picture it's more dried stone fruit, like dried peach and nectarine. Yeah, but it's always.
Hey man, let me ask you a question.
What? All right.
Did you go to? Rob, what's it called? Cicerone School?
No, not me. I went to the professional brewers.
Oh, but he's a professor.
Tom was at Cicerone School, yeah.
I'm just like some.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Did you go to Cicerone School?
I did not.
Did you go to brewing school?
I didn't do anything.
On the street?
That's pretty much my life. Matt's a Cicerone server, certified.
CBS, yes. Certified beer server.
Where'd you get certified at?
You sign up online. They charge you $75, and you answer some pretty not too hard questions about beer. But then, the next step is definitely
the level 2.
Level 2 is
we talked about that on one of the other podcasts. So I think there's. If I'm right, I think there's 3 levels. There's the certified beer server. There's the Cicerone, which Greg and Tom on my staff. Those guys are both Cicerones. But then there's the advanced Cicerone, which is only a handful.
Or master, right? Essentially, they call it master Cicerone.
Is it master? I mean, there's advanced.
They crowbarred another one in there.
Right. So that's the advanced. So Greg, who actually used to work for me, that day we were tasting to develop your beer, he just passed advanced.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so Brad, take it back to you.
Why would you do that?
Noble Ale Works. No, because see, when I read this description, you're talking about the stone fruits. Hey, and Rob's talking about the advanced. Right. I'm just an advanced drinker.
But
I do not speak in technical terms.
No. This isn't technical.
Rob, what's your take on this beer?
I think it's a great
You
beer.
like it?
Yeah, it's lean. It doesn't drink it like 8%.
It doesn't. Do you taste the layers of stone fruit? Bright
How many
citrus and
layers of
pineapple?
Name how many layers of stone fruit. How many layers? Do it.
Yeah, we're going to see what you work here.
I certainly get citrus.
Dude, I got 6
Yeah,
layers.
moderate to
Six
low
layers.
dank.
Swear to God, 6.
I was going to say 6.4,
Is that right?
but yeah, you're right there.
No, you missed one.
You're under slightly, but you're there. And no, here's the thing. Okay, so it's all this stuff to me is really personal. So, what? What?
What's my little baby?
Those were tears of joy. Those are tears of joy.
Is that, no, but I mean, when it comes so maybe don't get stone fruit out of this, but you get what do you get out of this? And so everyone has their own frames of reference, So that this is my. A lot of times I choose either candy, mostly just candy, because I'm like a fat kid. I was a fat kid, and so like
That's why our palates are so similar.
we have very similar palates.
Yeah, it
We're
does
fat
taste
kids
like
like
rice.
Snickers and like
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah. So, so that's so we'll put that on the sheet. Like, oh yeah, we're getting yeah, exactly, like the green runt, and just because it's personal. It's just what you're putting out there. Oh yeah, shit, I get the green runt. Yeah, or whatever.
But you get on this, like you get a lot more of like a tree fruit quality, a little bit of a citrus, but not so much a floral, not so much an earthy, not so much a spicy. So I mean, that's kind of the road that you
it's
go down.
to give you an idea. It's just so you look at that and go like, oh, I like this. I like a bright flavor profile like that. It's not dank. We're not describing it as that because it's not so much. It's bright.
Give me your take on dank.
Well, dank, onion, garlic, marijuana E. What is it? Oh, naughty sauce. Here we go. That's not dank. Okay, cool. But yeah, dank really like because there's a lot of it's like marijuana E. It's not like a dank cellar. I mean that's a thing too, but I would almost if you get it's like cellar like moldy like qualities. I mean that's I would call
but
it
Rob, you
something
just did a dank 6 months ago. What was it? The dank.
Oh, the dank bowl. Yeah, that's kind.
What is that?
Because dank is it's a descriptor for a lot of the varieties of hops. And that's exactly what he said. I mean, it's that kind of that sack of weed kind of quality. Kind of dingy, whatever it is. It's kind of a descriptor in itself because nothing else really lends itself to it.
It really is.
But
yeah.
when we do things with a whole ton of hops, and when it's so that's what we're calling the dank bowl because that's what you're going to get is a whole bunch of dankness and
What was the hop? What you using there?
We just that was like the power plant release last year, and so we did that. And a bunch of other big IPAs.
I see.
Other than that, Brad, those are trade secrets. Don't tell anybody. And nobody listens to this podcast anyway, so I never hear that.
What is your reach, by the way, Steve? Just because I always want to write this down in my diary at home.
Orange County, Inland Empire, LA.
It went up way up in El Segundo.
I cover all of California.
That's who buys our beer? Barely any of those people.
All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. But before I do, I want to thank Brad and Matt down there at Noble Ale Works shooting the breeze with me, taking time out of their busy day. When you make beer, you think it's all glorious and glamorous, but it ain't. It's a lot of damn hard work. Had a good time down there shooting the breeze with you. Stay tuned for the Thursday episode because Brad's a mean-ass pro wrestling fan. He's got a bunch of good-ass questions, and I got some bad-ass answers. So, conversation switches, craft beer to pro wrestling. Thanks to Rob Croxall of El Segundo Brewing Company, the guy that invented Broken Skull IPA, for making a trip down there with me and doing a hell of a job as my wingman. Hey, anyway, let's get down to business. Wrap this thing up. All them damn shirts you see me wear on the Badass Season of Broken Skull Challenge are at ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin, also at BrokenSkullRanch.com. And yes, we have the camouflage hats in stock. While I'm talking about the Broken Skull Challenge, do not miss the women this coming Sunday. They will blow your ass out of the water. It is 4 years of the making, picking the best of the best women that ever came out there to lay it down and do hard work and compete. And, man, they kick ass. Don't miss the women this Sunday coming up on CMT 10/9 Central. Hey, and if you're looking for the best damn IPA available, Get the Broken Skull IPA from El Segundo Brewing Company. Stop by the brewery if you're in L.A. at 140 Main Street, El Segundo. You can pick it up at Whole Foods and Total Wines if you live in Cali, or order from InsideTheCellar.com if you live in a state that they ship to. And you can find everything that I'm dealing with at BrokenSkullRanch.com, including the Cold Steel Broken Skull knife. And if you want the best price on the baddest knife on the planet, go to Amazon. It's $75 on Amazon. And use my links when you go. All my Amazon links are at podcast1.com. Click on the Killer Deals button in the top right corner of the page and then hit the Steve Austin Show button. I got Amazon links for USA, UK, and Canada. Just use my Amazon links whenever you're doing any online shopping, and Amazon will kick back a few ducats to the podcast. Don't cost you nothing extra. Ain't no hidden fees or charges. You can buy whatever you plan on buying and help out the podcast in the process. Bookmark it, and you can find it easier. You'll also find links to all the great sponsors of this here podcast, and I appreciate y'all supporting the sponsors because they're the ones that let me do this for you free twice a week. So big ups to DDP Yoga. Go to ddpyoga.com/Austin and get 25% off all DDPY DVDs and related merch. To Helix, go to helixsleep.com/podcast to get $50 off your first mattress purchase. Hey, the 60-second AP News headlines are coming up next. Until then, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at podcast1.com. That's podcastone.com.
This is Bulldog Bob Brown. If you want to get.
Just read it.
If you want to get over and stay over, you should check out the new episode of Killing the Town every Tuesday at podcast1.com, the Podcast One app, or subscribe at iTunes. Hey, Geigel, what the hell is iTunes?
I want to say thank you to Drop Stop, one of the great sponsors of this show. Drop Stop is the original patented seat gap filler, as seen on TV's Shark Tank. Get the original Drop Stop at buydropstop.com and use code STEVE for 2 free gifts and free shipping. Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this.
The Angry President. I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. We've learned that President Trump was seething when he fired FBI Director James Comey. He felt Comey let the FBI's Russia investigation play out in the press, we're told. Former Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone tells the Today Show this morning the Trump presidential campaign did not collude with Moscow.
The idea of Russian collusion is a canard. It's a falsehood.
Earlier on the Today Show, White House Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked about a line in the president's termination letter to Comey that read, "I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation." Some have called that statement into question. Sanders was asked about it.
Look, I'm not sure on the reasoning behind that exact part being in there, but I do know I spoke to the president directly, and he said that those moments and conversations did take place.
I'm Rita Foley.